All right, let's keep moving with DSMA 2 Part 2. Right, so we have a few options with this. One is put it in your calculator and hit equal, and of course, you will get the decimal equivalent. The other thing we can do is work to get the denominator to be 100. And then finally, we can do long division. So long division, we would put 20 into 13. The decimal's here, and so the decimal has to be up here. And we're going to have to add a 0 here. So what we're going to do is see how many times does 20 go into 13. Doesn't go into 13. So now we're going to see how many times does it go into 130. So it would actually go into 136 times. So 6 times 20 would give me 120. Then I'm going to subtract. That gives me 10. I need to bring another 0 down. 20 goes into 105 times. So I would be done. Now that's what your calculator is going to do for you as well. If you put this in the calculator, you're going to get 0.65. If you purchase the Casio calculator, there is a fraction key right here. If you hit that key, you're going to get the boxes just like in my stat lab. So you can type the 13 on top. These are your arrow keys in the middle. So just click this down key. I know your Casio will look a little different than mine, but the keyboard looks the same. So hit the down arrow and you can put 20 on the bottom and then come over here and put equal, and it's going to give you the decimal. All right, so we want to write negative 19 over 25 as a decimal. Your best bet is to pop that into the calculator. Don't forget, though, that you have a negative out front when you do that. So you can either do negative 19 divided by 25. It's going to give you 0.76, and then put the negative in front. So you can divide negative 19 by 25 and get negative 0.76, or you can go ahead and put it into a fraction, put negative 19 on top and the 25 on the bottom. Now, you know, I'm a mathematician, and so we say this as negative 0.76. Remember, this is the 10th spot, this is the 100th spot. So this is actually negative 76 hundredths. That would probably be a better way for me to say that. All right, so this is where we want to change decimals to fractions. Now is when we need to know those spots. So on the right-hand side, here we have tenths. Here we have hundredths, and here we have thousandths. You've really got to get these down, because as we're doing statistics, they're sometimes going to say round to 2 decimals, but they might say round to the 100th or round to the thousandths, and so you have to know where you are in the scheme of things with decimals. It also helps with the fractions, because here with the tenths, we're going to divide by 10. If you have 2 decimal places and you're in the hundredths, you're going to divide by 100 to get to fractions. And thousandths, you would divide by 1,000. So notice that there's a 0 for each decimal place, right? And so if you only have one number to the right of the decimal, you're going to divide by 10. If you have 2, you're going to divide by 100. And of course, that has 2 zeros. If you have 3, you're going to divide by 1,000, which is the 3 zeros, and you've got the 3 numbers to the right of the decimal place. If you have 6 numbers, you're going to divide by 1,000,000. So for each number to the right of the decimal, you are going to add a 0 on the bottom of what you're dividing. So for here, I'm going to take the 3 that's on the right-hand side, I'm going to divide by 10 because this is in the 10th spot. And then that one does not reduce any further. So we're going to leave it at that. Now, there is a key on your calculator that is called an SD key. This key will switch between decimal and fraction if it's able to. Okay, so if you type in 0.3 and hit that SD key, it should give you the fraction. I'm telling you that. That Casio is something else. Okay, so now that we've done all that, our answer is 3/10. Okay, with this one, we have two numbers to the right of the decimal. That means we need 2 zeros in the bottom, in the denominator. So 29 goes on top, 100th goes in the bottom, and that's because my last number is in the 100th spot. This does not simplify any further, and so we're going to leave it just like that. Put in 29 over 100. All right, so they're starting to get a little trickier on me here. It's write the decimal as a fraction or mixed number, write your answer in simplest form. We do have to keep the negative out front. We have 3 digits to the right of the decimal, so we are going to write 64. We need to have the negative. Underneath, I'm going to have 1,000. I need 3 zeros because I have 3 digits to the right of the decimal. Now, I don't think we've really talked about reducing fractions yet, so you're welcome to put that in the Casio and hit that SD key. What happens is, so for reducing this by hand, notice that both the numerator and the denominator are divisible by 2, right? 64 and 1,000. So I can divide both the numerator and the denominator. That would give me negative 32 over 500. Again, they're divisible by 2. That gives me negative 16 over 250. I'm going to get there. They are divisible by 2 again, so I get negative 8 over 125. I think that's it. No other numbers are going to go into both of those. But use your Casio. Let your Casio do the work. All right, here's the fun one. Most of them are pretty straightforward. It's only going to be that 11 1/9. That's a pain. We're going to do that one last. So we've got percent, decimal, and fraction. For the first one, we have 75%. We know to change it to a decimal, we have to move the decimal point to the right 2. Okay, at that point, you can either put the 0.75 in your Casio and hit the SD key, or what would happen is there's 2 2 digits to the right, so it would be 75 over 100. Both of those are divisible by 25, and so I would have 3 over 4. So my fraction would be 3 over 4. All right, let's try the next one. So the next one, I have 0.205. I know to get a percent, I would need to move the decimal to the right 2, and so that would give me 20.5%. Let me see, I'm going to work on my fraction over here on the side. I have 3 digits to the right, so I need 3 zeros on the bottom. Both of those are divisible by 5, so that would give me what, 41 over 200, I think. I hope so. You guys check me on that. Again, you can let the Casio do the work. Okay, let's try 1/4. So 1/4, if you put that in your calculator, you're going to get 0.25, or you can do long division and you can divide 4 into 1. Okay, now you have a decimal of 0.25. For percent, I need to move my decimal point to the right, and I get 25%. All right, let's come back to the 11 and 1/9. So let's go ahead and go down here to the 5/8. So again, you can put that in your Casio, or let's do this. Let's do long division. I know we don't want to do long division, but 8 doesn't go into 5. 8 goes into 56 times, so that would be 48. That would give me 20. 8 goes into 22 times. That's 16. And finally, 8 goes into 45 times. Whew. So that would give me 0.625. And now the percent's really easy because I just move my decimal over and I'm good to go. All right, let's look at the bottom row, 17.5%. We know how to change that decimal. It's going to become 0.175 with no percent. Okay, now for the fraction, I'm going to put 175 over 1,000. Those are both divisible by 5. That would give me, let's see, 5 goes in there 3 times. And then 35 on the bottom. All right, I did something wrong there. Wait a minute. Here's a case of do what I say, not what I do. That needs to be 1,000 on the bottom, right? And so if I divide by 5, I get 200. Both of those are again divisible by 5. That would give me 7 over 40. So here would give me 7 divided by 40. All right, let's look at the tricky one. So this is actually 11.111. It goes on and on forever. We put a bar over the 1 to say that it goes on and on forever. Okay, so it's 11.11111. You can go ahead and put these. Usually what we get is 1 over 9, which is 0.1111, or 1 over 3, which is 0.333. Again, it goes on forever. Okay, if I move my decimal to get to move from a percent to a decimal, I'm going to have 0.1111. Okay, this is actually 1 over 9. If you want to put it in your Casio, you will have to type lots of ones. You've got to do ones all the way across the screen. Otherwise, it doesn't work. But if you keep hitting, so you do 0.11, put the ones all the way across the screen, hit execute and your SD key, it'll give you the 1/9. If you have trouble with this one in the homework, just reach out to me. I'll help you. All right, let's look at some ratios. So ratios are really important. You guys are going to do these, any of you who are going into the health field, when you take the HESI. We want to make sure that the words match. So we're going to do a ratio. We're going to put it in fraction form, but we have to make sure that we're putting like items together. So this one's good because we have megabytes to megabytes. Those are the same. And so we're actually able to put 9 megabytes over 19 megabytes. And so for a simplified fraction, 9 over 19 does not simplify any further. So we're going to leave it just like that. Okay, so this one we have an issue because we have 3 nickels to $4. All right, that's not going to work. I can't do this. Okay, so I need to change these. I could turn the nickels into dollars, but that's kind of a pain. I could change the dollars to nickels, but that's kind of, let's do cents. Okay, I think that would be a lot easier. So 3 nickels would give me 15 cents, right? 3 nickels, 3 times 5. $4, every dollar is 100 cents. So $4 would be 400 cents. Now these are equivalent. So now I can compare them. Okay, I would have to reduce. So 15 over 400, 5 goes into both of those. So that would give me 3 over 80. Okay, and that would be the ratio. Okay, so again, I have 190 minutes compared to 2 hours. So that is not going to work. I've got to change either minutes to hours, which is a pain with 190. So I'm going to go ahead and change both to minutes. So we'll leave the 190 minutes. On the bottom, 2 hours would be 120 minutes. Okay, so now they're both minutes. That's good. Now I can compare them. Those are both divisible by 10. So that's going to give me 19 over 12. It does not, it says it wants a fraction. It does not say it wants a mixed number. So I'm going to leave it be. I know I shouldn't because the numerator is bigger than the denominator, but because it's a ratio, we're going to leave it alone. And so 19 over 12 would be the simplified ratio in fraction form. All right, with word problems, you really have to watch. So we have a standard DVD has a diameter of 36 centimeters. A mini DVD has a diameter of 30 centimeters. Okay, so those are both centimeters, so that's good. I don't have to convert. But look what they do to me over here. They said, write the ratio of the mini DVD diameter to the standard. So I always want to start, I want to read left to right. So I want the mini DVD on top, and I want the standard DVD on the bottom. So the mini DVD is 30 centimeters. The standard is 36 centimeters. And then I need to clean that fraction up. So let's see, they're both divisible by 2. That gives me 15 over 18. They're both divisible by 3. That gives me 5 over 6. All right, so 5 over 6 is the simplified ratio in fraction form.